certain events in history where even bringing them up feels like you're stepping on a landmine. I've done a few videos about short-lived conspiracies, ones that were everywhere and then all of a sudden they were just gone. And what happened in Vegas is one of those moments. It happened, it was massive, but it changed nothing, and somehow we collectively agreed to stop talking about it almost immediately. With this one, there was no long-running national conversation, no cultural processing, just headlines, a little press conference, and then complete silence. You know, we can talk conspiracy all day, we can dissect movies, we can talk about things happening in the headlines, but there's certain things that you can't. There's topics in videos that I know when I bring them up, they're going to be my least viewed videos. And this one sits in a weird box labeled closed, even though we really never felt like it was opened in the first place. You don't even have to suggest anything nefarious for the conversation to shut down completely. Simply saying the whole thing was odd is enough to get you side-eyed. And it was a complete national tragedy, and we just don't talk about it. You know, it's one of those things. When a subject becomes untouchable that quickly, people don't stop thinking about it, they just stop saying it out loud. But I guess, you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
There's footage that resurfaced from the Met Gala about someone from the royal family. You know, they have a lot of money, a lot of access to things that aren't accessible to regular people. People are looking at this footage. Princess Beatrice, she looks a little bit too much like a robot. Almost like she's not. Oh, that's a something going on.
Their phones, they noticed a notification from the Ring app. Motion detected a camera had captured, left them stunned.
As Jason, someone fixing or air color. I deployed into the field bag and taking the ride to their failure. As Jason, someone fixing or air color. I deployed into the field bag and taking the ride to their failure.
Her appearance was almost otherworldly. Dark circles hung heavy under her eyes. She shuffled back and forth in front of the door, mumbling in a language that was completely unintelligible. The woman never returned, but even now, they remain deeply unsettled. On April 17, 2024, Anton was at home when his doorbell suddenly rang. But as he stood up and walked toward the door, the ringing turned into loud, aggressive knocking. That's when Anton knew something was wrong. Instinct kicked in. Instead of opening the door, he grabbed his phone and began filming.
Open the door. Please. Open the door. Please. Please. Open the door. Please. Open the door.
The police finally arrived.
Let's go. You sit up there, please. Let's go. Put up. Let's go.
He phoned the police. Officers arrived quickly, removed the man from the building, and brought him in for questioning. Anton finally felt a sense of relief. The danger was gone. Peace had returned. But then, he got a phone call from the police. Have a listen.
Yes, hello, Mr. Waka.
Yeah, hello?
So we proceed to arrest the individual who followed you to your home, but he has no criminal record and he has committed no offense. So I wanted to inform you that he has been released.
Wait, but if he comes back, what should I do?
Well, you'll have to call us back, sir. Have a good day. Goodbye.
The man had been released. No charges, no warning, just gone. Feeling a mix of fear and frustration, Anton turned to TikTok, hoping to warn others and show the world what really happened. His message was clear. There are people out there with dangerous intentions. Unfortunately, not everyone makes it out safely.
2023, a quiet Brooklyn street, just after 4 a.m. A young couple waited for the bus near Malcolm X Boulevard, returning home from a wedding on Long Island. They were tired, dressed formally, and likely thinking about sleep.
go watch him.
Ryan Carson was sitting on a bench beside his girlfriend. Moments later, surveillance footage shows a man passing by. The man begins lashing out, kicking a parked scooter and turning back to confront the couple. "What are you looking at?" he demands, according to reports. Ryan tries to de-escalate, but the man advances. Carson pushes him back, just slightly. Then the man pulls out a knife. In seconds, Ryan is stabbed multiple times in the chest. As he collapses to the sidewalk, the attacker turns his attention toward Ryan's girlfriend, lunging at her with the weapon still in hand, before fleeing into the night. Police later identified and arrested the suspect, 18-year-old Brian Dowling, but the damage had already been done. Ryan Carson was pronounced dead at Kings County Hospital.
Just read the title. This is why I don't trust nurses or doctors. You go to the hospital, the person that's supposed to keep you alive is the one that unalive you because they had too much on their plate. Their workload was too much. So they had to relieve some stress. 10 innocent people was unalive because this man did not want to fulfill his shift. That's laziness mixed with some evil demonic type shit. Y'all think just because it happened in Germany, it can't happen in America. I'm here to tell you, it's a lot of people that think alike. So it might be somebody thinking about this shit right now.
Alternative meat sources like lab-grown meat. So when a recent tick outbreak began causing a strange new illness, it didn't take long for people to start connecting the dots. A bite from one of them can cause something called alpha-gal syndrome. This condition triggers an allergy to mammalian meat such as beef, pork, and lamb. In other words, once you're bitten, eating meat from mammals can actually make you sick. And seeing as Bill Gates is someone who's invested a lot of money into getting people to stop eating actual meat and instead opt for these alternative sources of meat, many are suspecting that he could be, or might allegedly be, behind the spread of these ticks that are causing this syndrome, just so his no-meat eating agenda could blossom. When we really look at the facts and consider everything we know about Bill Gates, you have to wonder, could there be some truth to it, or is it all just a coincidence?
CERN, they've used their collider to open up a portal to communicate with extraterrestrial beings.
Well, DM me. No, for real. He said he saw those videos and everything I was saying. He feels he has a very serious message for the starseed.
Some of our audience might understand what you're saying, but to be clear, CERN already has a room and a technology to open a portal to talk to extraterrestrials.
Yes.
He wanted me to invite all of the starseed to a webinar on the 8th. Comment view and I will send you the link. We're talking 3-Eye Atlas. Randomly DM me in the middle of the night to tell me it's time for the starseeds to get prepared for something that is coming. A completely new object just popped up out of nowhere in between Earth and 3-Eye Atlas.
Directly in between interstellar object 3-Eye Atlas and Earth. Object directly in between 3-Eye Atlas and Earth.
Oh, this gets better. And then 4 countries shut down their airspace because of drones that they could not stop.
The lights were dimmed and the whole room was quiet. He said the room looked kind of creepy in the dark, so just as a joke, he decided to snap a few photographs to show his girlfriend how eerie it looked. But when he looked through the pictures, one of them stood out, and not in a good way. In the photo, you can see what looks like a small child-shaped figure, but it's off somehow. The body looks distorted mid-one, and the face is blurred. At the time, all the kids were asleep, every single one of them. And yet this ghostly child was caught in the middle of a supposed daycare. What dreams really are. We could talk about this for days, even years, and still not come to a definite answer. There are countless theories, beliefs, and even conspiracies. One of the most fascinating theories I've come across is that our dreams might be memories from another existence entirely. According to this idea, every time you dream, you might be reliving moments from a parallel version of yourself somewhere out there in another galaxy. What you think is imagination could actually be a memory bleeding through from a different life. That could explain why some dreams feel so real, or people you've never met yet feel this strange sense of familiarity. Maybe it's because in some other reality you know them. So the next time you wake up from a dream that feels a little too real, maybe it wasn't just a dream. Maybe it was a memory.
I am the Lord of the God, who teaches you the prophet, who leads you by the way you should go.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I command you to take these demons out of the house. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I ask you to leave my house, please. I command you to leave the house in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I am reading the Father's prayers. Leave this house now. Leave in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I command you to leave right now. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Get to the boats! It's burning everything!
They say that there are like little people living in the jungle.
Yeah, like a dwarf.
Like dwarfs.
Yeah.
Is that here too?
Yeah. These are the ones.
That's it? Have you seen them before?
Yeah.
You've seen them?
Yeah, they're representative of the dwarfs.
They look like people or what?
Yeah, they look like people.
What do they do?
They kill people. You don't see them very often. When you go to the jungle and if it is very quiet, then you can see them running around.
What, you've seen them too? Everyone sees them?
I guess that people love hell. Or they love the idea of feeling like they're in hell. Look at all these people, y'all. This was Zach Brown concert that was in the Sphere in Las Vegas. Y'all cannot tell me this shit don't look demonic. Look at it. Y'all gotta understand that a lot of these celebrities in the entertainment business, the music business, they are soulless vessels. A lot of them lost it when they signed that deal. Look, it look like people chained up, bro. This shit is wicked, fool. Look at it. Y'all gotta understand that music is not just entertainment. It's a tool for power. If you control the youth, you control the world. And people don't be understanding that spells are real. I know a lot of people in that crowd just like, I'm enjoying the show. But little do they know, they are part of the show.
We all know that something ain't right in Turning Point USA world. That the whole narrative behind the Charlie Kirk assassination is phony baloney. And you think, man, what that bitch got up her sleeve?
The podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's. At one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she's making a huge amount of money on it. She's building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now? Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
She turns into a monster during this clip. You can see it. And you know that Candace Owens has a hit out on her. Where the threat is coming from.
If I told you that this temple in India was made over 1,000 years ago just by using shovels, chisels, and hammers, would you believe me? Because I wouldn't. No, I'm not saying it wasn't made 1,000 years ago. It sure was. And I'm not saying it wasn't made from one piece of stone. It sure is. But how could anybody made something that intricate with just shovels, hammers, and chisels? I think people from these ancient cultures just aren't given credit for the technology that they must have obviously had. Even if archaeologists today can't find their technology, it had to be there. Because this temple from India that I've been showing you, also called the Temple of the Slayer, was made at the latest in the 8th century. That's like 1,200 years ago. And I know that mainstream science and mainstream media say those people only had shovels, chisels, and hammers. But how could they have made something so long ago as beautiful as this without better tools. Well, I have an idea. They did have better tools. Just because these societies and civilizations were ancient doesn't mean they didn't have technologies of their own. Do you think these ancient civilizations, ancient cultures, had technology that we just don't know about? Shabadoo!
Antarctica is a mystery. Global warming. It is melting ice that has been there for about 20,000 years. And it began to expose these complex structures. These are massive complex structures with room after room after room after room. Google Earth pixelated all of that out. They don't want us seeing. There was a film crew from Los Angeles that went down to document what was happening, and they have not been heard from since. They've disappeared. If they were successful finding the bases, they probably would not have been allowed to leave. Mainstream doesn't want to talk about it. They've been told not to talk about that.
What on earth is this thing? Apparently it's called the opium or the erosion bird, and looking at it makes me feel weird. And don't worry, they're definitely AI generated, but many are beginning to claim that creatures like this are actually real, and we've already encountered them in our past before. Depictions of bird-like creatures have been found all over the ancient world, in Mesopotamia and Egypt, and even all the way across the ocean in the Mayans and Aztecs. Why did cultures all around the world just all independently come up with the same allegedly fictitious anthropomorphic bird? The ruins left behind by one of these ancient civilizations are rumored to have been discovered and then covered up in Antarctica as well. A lot of controversy behind these. I actually made another video about it, so check it out if you want to know more. They were allegedly uncovered during an expedition led by Captain Robert Falcon Scott in 1912. Fast forward a couple years to 1946 for yet another Antarctic expedition, this time led by Admiral Richard Byrd. Robert Falcon Scott? Admiral Richard Byrd? Okay, these are definitely coincidences. Anyway, we were fresh out of World War II, and Admiral Byrd was tasked with mapping out sites for potential future military sites in the South Pole. While scouting, him and his crew stumbled on something that no one in the world would have ever expected, and he documented it all in his personal diary, which didn't make the final cut of his official publication and was discovered by his son years after his death. In here, he recounts a mind-boggling story. As he flies over Antarctica, he passes over some mountains and discovers an enormous opening in the icy surface. Him and his squadron fly into it, and all of a sudden, they're surrounded by a luscious green landscape of grass and forests. He continues on, seeing giant creatures roaming around him, and he's brought to a shimmering rainbow city made of crystal. He's surrounded by these flying disc-shaped objects that lead him to the ground, and he's brought to a tall being called the Master. Highly advanced beings living in a futuristic city inside the Earth? Yup, it's the infamous Hollow Earth theory. And yeah, all of this is in his diary. And to be clear, Admiral Byrd was one of the most decorated and highly celebrated officers in the American military. He wrote this diary during his prime years, not when he became old, so dismissing it all as a senile crackpot's journal doesn't make any sense. In the diary, he talks about meeting this tall being who tells him they're disappointed in humanity and are afraid that we might nuke ourselves into extinction. And this is around the time we started doing nuclear testing. Maybe this was our first glimpse of the real erosion bird? Bird-like gods, entrances to underground worlds in Antarctica with tall beings. Kinda checks out. And maybe these beings and all the flying discs mentioned are also related to all the UFO sightings we've been seeing in the past couple of years. Apparently, Admiral Byrd really wanted to share these findings, but was ordered by the military to stay silent about it. Along with bird-like beings, records of inner-Earth civilizations have been reported by many, if not almost every ancient society of our past. Buddhists have the subterranean kingdom of Agartha. Ancient Indians have Patala. The Mayans got Xibalba, an underworld civilization, which is called Chico Mostok for the Aztecs. Ancient African and other native cultures talk about subterranean cavern spirits. The Sumerians knew it as Kur, Babylonians Urkala. Ancient Chinese Diyu, Japanese Yomi. Ancient Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and even Celtics all had myths of an underground world inhabited by superior beings, some of whom were cast out of this utopia onto the surface of Earth and started humanity as we currently know it. Could this even be the original Garden of Eden? And just like the flood myth that appears in every single ancient civilization, when stories are repeated this often, we have to ask ourselves, what if they actually happened? These giant holes have been reported to be seen at the poles on numerous occasions. In 1829, a fisherman named Olaf Janssen claims to have sailed through a polar opening and into the planet's interior, where he met a race of tall beings, giants. In 1985, a naval engineer team at McMurdo Station in the South Pole reports seeing circular aircraft flying above an area called the Beardmore Glacier. They couldn't investigate it because the area was a no-fly zone, obviously. But at one point, they get an emergency call from an injured crew member that needs immediate evacuation. In order to get to him on time, they needed to fly through the Beardmore Glacier. And when they did, they reported seeing almost exactly what Admiral Byrd documented. A giant football field-sized opening, some sort of entrance in the ice leading deep beneath the surface. And when they get back to the station, a man in a black suit arrives, telling them that they did not see what they just saw. Are these the entrances to the hidden underground lands of our past, like Agartha, and the true home of the erosion bird?